You know that feeling when you check your bank account and there's something there? Not just leftover grocery money or next week's rent sitting in limbo, but actual money, real money that isn't already spoken for, money that doesn't have a job lined up before it even hits your account. My name is Chris, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others stay stuck in the same exhausting patterns for decades. And I'm telling you, there's this specific dollar amount where everything changes, where your entire relationship with money fundamentally transforms in ways you didn't expect. That number is around $25,000. Not a million, not even six figures. $25,000. Saved. Sitting there. Yours. Now, I know what you're thinking. Chris, that's not life-changing money. That's barely a down payment in most cities. And you're right. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The first $25,000 doesn't change your life because of what you can buy with it. It changes your life because of what it does to your brain. So let's talk about why this specific milestone is so powerful. The suffocation of financial fragility. Here's what life looks like before you hit that $25,000 mark. You're fragile, financially fragile, in ways you probably don't even fully recognize because it's just normal. Your car makes a weird noise and your stomach drops because you know that if this thing needs serious work, you're looking at credit card debt or some humiliating conversation with a family member about whether they can help you out. You get a text from a friend about a wedding in another state, and your first thought isn't, "Oh, that'll be fun." It's, "How much is the flight? Can I afford a hotel?" You're doing math before you're feeling joy. It's like driving with the low fuel light on. Sure, the car still moves, but every mile feels tense. You're not enjoying the drive, you're just trying not to break down. I remember talking to a friend who was living paycheck to paycheck, decent job, smart person, just never had savings, and she told me she spent more mental energy thinking about money than anything else in her life, more than her relationships, more than her health, more than her actual job. Because when you're financially fragile, money is this constant low-level anxiety humming in the background of everything you do. You're making every single decision through the lens of scarcity. Not, do I want this, but can I survive this expense without destroying my next 3 months? That's where a lot of people live for a really long time. Not broke, not rich, just hovering in that weird in-between where you're technically fine, but mentally exhausted from thinking about money all the time. So what happens when you hit that $25,000 in savings? The first thing, and this is subtle but huge, you stop living in crisis mode. Money stops screaming at you. Because here's what $25,000 represents. It's roughly 6 months of expenses for a lot of people. It's enough that if something goes wrong, you're not scrambling, you're not panicking. You're inconvenienced, sure, but you're not derailed. Your car breaks down, annoying, but you fix it. You lose your job, terrifying, but you have runway. You have time to find something good instead of taking the first thing that'll pay you. You stop checking your balance before ordering food. You stop doing mental gymnastics over small purchases. And that mental quiet, that's the real asset. Because once urgency fades, something else shows up. Clarity. You start thinking in weeks instead of days, then months instead of weeks, and eventually years. That shift alone changes how you behave, not because you suddenly became disciplined, but because your nervous system finally calms down. I talked to someone who just hit that threshold for the first time in their life, and they said something that stuck with me. I didn't realize how much fear I was carrying until I didn't have to carry it anymore. That's the shift. You don't even realize you've been operating from a place of fear until you're suddenly not. Risk becomes your friend. When you're close to zero, risk feels dangerous. A single mistake can knock you out of the game, so you avoid it. You take the safe job. You don't negotiate. You don't invest in yourself because you can't afford to. But when you have $25,000, your risk calculus completely flips, not because you're suddenly reckless, but because you can actually afford to take smart risks. You can negotiate that salary because walking away isn't financial suicide. You can invest in that certification that might level up your career. You can even leave a job that's making you miserable because you have a cushion. Let's say someone offers you a new job that pays 15% more but requires relocation. If you have no savings, that's impossible. But with $25,000, you can bet on yourself, and even if it doesn't work out, you're not destroyed. You've got options. This is how wealth accelerates, not through some magic investment strategy, but through being able to say yes to opportunities that would be too risky otherwise. The first $25,000 opens doors. Everything after that is about walking through them. You stop needing money to prove things. Before $25,000, money is emotional. You want it to feel validating. Sometimes you want it to feel impressive. Buying something nice feels like proof that you're doing okay. But after $25,000, something subtle happens. You stop needing money to say anything. You don't need to prove you're successful because internally you already feel stable. Here's something paradoxical. Once you have savings, you actually start spending better. Not more, better. Because you're not making decisions from a place of deprivation anymore. When you're broke, every purchase feels fraught and guilty. But when you have a cushion, you can make rational decisions. You can buy the high-quality version because you know it'll last. You can wait for sales. You can spend on things that genuinely improve your life without crushing guilt. I remember realizing one day that I could buy something and just didn't want to. Not because I was being frugal, it just didn't matter anymore. That's when you know your relationship with money has changed. Money stops being part of your identity and starts becoming a tool again. You trust yourself more. Here's the part no one talks about. Hitting $25,000 isn't just a financial milestone. It's proof. Proof that you can follow through. Proof that you can delay gratification. Proof that you can make decisions today that benefit future you. And once you trust yourself with money, you start trusting yourself with everything else. You stop second-guessing every move. You stop waiting for permission. Before you hit that milestone, it's easy to feel like wealth is for other people. But when you watch your savings grow from 0 to $25,000, even if it takes years, you prove to yourself that you can build something. And once you hit that mark, the next milestone doesn't seem impossible anymore. $50,000? Totally doable. $100,000? It's just math and time. That internal shift is quiet, but it changes the trajectory of your life. Confidence compounds just like money does. The real transformation. Here's the truth. $25,000 isn't special because of what it buys. It's special because of what it removes. It removes panic. It removes desperation. It removes the constant background fear that one bad month will undo everything. And once those things are gone, you get access to something far more valuable than money: choice. Not flashy choices, not Instagram choices, real ones. The kind where you can say no, the kind where you can wait, the kind where you can think clearly. That quiet, that's the sound of space opening up in your life, and space is where everything good grows. Keep going. Look, I'm not going to lie to you and say getting to $25,000 is easy. For a lot of people, it's years of sacrifice. It's saying no to things you want. It's side hustles and living below your means while everyone around you seems to be living it up on credit cards and fake Instagram wealth. But here's what I want you to understand. That struggle is worth it because the psychological freedom, the optionality, the shift in how you see yourself, that's priceless.
So if you're at $0 right now, or $3,000, or $12,000, keep going. Automate your savings if you can. Find ways to increase your income. Cut the expenses that don't actually make your life better. And when you finally hit that $25,000 mark, take a moment to recognize what you've accomplished. Not just financially, but psychologically. You've changed how you think. You've changed what's possible. You've changed who you are. That's the real transformation. And honestly, that's worth more than the money itself. So wherever you are right now, hovering, building, restarting, keep going. Not because of the number, but because of who you become on the way there.